Have you ever wondered why Satan so desperately wanted Moses' body after his death? This question might seem disturbing or even strange, but it is deeply rooted in biblical accounts. Moses, a towering figure in history, led the Israelites from Egyptian slavery to the edge of the Promised Land. He was the intermediary of the Ten Commandments, a symbol of hope and faith. However, what happened after his death was surprising. According to the Bible, God laid Moses to rest in an undisclosed location. However, an unusual event occurred. There was an intense dispute between the angel Michael and the devil over Moses' remains. This is not a made-up story, but a reference from the book of Jude, verse 9, where the archangel Michael and Satan have a serious battle over Moses' body. This scenario raises more questions than answers, so let's explore the biblical events surrounding Moses' death and this peculiar dispute. Moses, the man who led the Israelites out of Egypt, who received the Ten Commandments directly from God, and who guided his people toward the Promised Land, was now on the verge of death. His life was marked by extraordinary encounters, divine revelations, and powerful miracles. However, just before entering the Promised Land, he made a serious mistake that almost cost him his ministry. God had specifically instructed Moses to speak to the rock so that water would gush out and the children of Israel could drink. But unfortunately, due to the pressure from the Israelites, Moses, in a moment of anger, said to the people, "Must we always bring water for you to drink?" Although this statement might seem innocent, it had very serious consequences. Moses' first mistake was using the word "we" instead of saying "God." It was God's power that was supposed to bring out the water, not Moses. By saying "we," Moses attributed some level of power to himself. Secondly, Moses struck the rock when God had asked him to speak to it. Immediately after doing this, God told Moses that he would not enter the Promised Land because of his error. Think about it. Can you imagine everything Moses went through only to make a mistake at the end? After that, he died. The book of Deuteronomy 34 verses 5-6 narrates the event of Moses' death. It says, "So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of the Lord, and he buried him in a valley in the land of Moab, opposite Beth Peor. No one knows his grave to this day." This passage tells us that Moses died in the land of Moab according to God's words, and then, in a mysterious and divine act, God himself buried Moses. This is an unusual event in the Bible, the creator of the universe personally involving himself in the burial of a man. It is not common to hear about God performing a burial. This act of divine intervention signifies the special bond that Moses shared with God. Moses was not just a servant of the Lord. He was a friend, and in this friendship, we see a remarkable act of love, respect, and honor. But then a question arises. Why did God choose to bury Moses in a secret place? Why was the location of his grave kept hidden from the world? The answer to this question leads us to a deeper exploration of God's wisdom and Satan's cunning plans, where we find Michael the archangel and Satan locked in a fierce dispute, not here on earth, but in the heavenly realms. This was no ordinary dispute. Satan came to claim Moses' body. His audacious move was met with resistance by none other than Michael, the archangel. The Bible does not provide us with all the details of this celestial confrontation, but we know that Michael, firm in his divine duty, resisted Satan's claim. Michael, an archangel of great power and authority, stood his ground. However, he did not rebuke Satan in his own name or power. Instead, he said, "The Lord rebuke you." Here we see the humility and wisdom of the archangel Michael, who acknowledges that the power to rebuke Satan comes from God. One might wonder why a celestial being like Satan would be so interested in Moses' mortal remains. What could he gain by possessing the body of a man who had already died? Firstly, there is a chance that Satan wanted to prevent Moses from being resurrected or assumed into heaven. Satan might have wrongly assumed that God planned to take Moses into heaven, just like Elijah or Enoch. In the Gospel of Matthew 17 verses 1-3, Moses appeared with Elijah on the Mount of Transfiguration with Jesus. Satan, being the cunning adversary that he is, might have tried to stop this from happening by taking possession of Moses' body. Another major reason Satan wanted Moses' body was because he likely wanted to use Moses' body as an object of idolatry for the Israelites. Remember the golden calf incident in Exodus 32? Satan, knowing this, might have intended to tempt the Israelites to venerate Moses' body or relics. This would have been an effective way to divert them from the true worship of God. God, in his wisdom, might have hidden Moses' body to protect his people from this snare. The third reason is that Satan, who is referred to as the accuser in Revelation 12 verse 10, might have wanted to accuse Moses of his past sins and unworthiness before God. Satan could have used Moses' past failures, such as killing an Egyptian, breaking the tablets of the law, or striking the rock instead of speaking to it, as grounds for condemnation. The devil loves to accuse and condemn, and Moses, despite his great deeds, was not without sins. Lastly, Satan might have wanted to mock God's plan and power by seizing Moses' body. The devil, in his pride and rebellion, constantly seeks to challenge God's plans. But let us remember this: while Satan's cunning nature knows no bounds, neither does God's wisdom. God's power and wisdom are infinitely greater than Satan's schemes. Even when Satan fought hard for Moses' body, it was God who had the final say. God's purposes cannot be thwarted, and his plans cannot be foiled. Satan's cunning knows no bounds, but neither does God's wisdom. God is always one step ahead, and his wisdom and power far exceed anything Satan can muster. Even in the face of Satan's craftiness, God's plans always prevail. So remember, no matter how crafty and cunning Satan might be, God's wisdom, power, and love for us are infinitely greater. Beyond the dispute, there is a greater lesson. It is a story we have unraveled today, a complex narrative woven into the fabric of our faith, a tale of God's chosen leader Moses and the battle that ensued over his lifeless body. But let's step back for a moment. Let's look beyond the battle, beyond Satan's motives, and find the greater message hidden within this story. First, it is a reminder of the importance of true worship. The Israelites repeatedly fell into the snare of idolatry. Whether it was the golden calf or the bronze serpent, they were easily swayed away from the worship of the one true God. The potential misuse of Moses' body as an object of veneration underscores the struggle, reminding us to keep our worship focused solely on God. Second, it is a testament that God's grace extends beyond our shortcomings, and his love is stronger than our past failures. Finally, this story serves as a stark reminder of the need to resist Satan's temptations. Satan is crafty, cunning, and will use any means to divert us from God's path. But as the Archangel Michael demonstrated, with faith and the power of God's word, we can stand against these temptations. Let us remember the story of Moses' body not as a gruesome battle, but as a testament to God's enduring protection and guidance. It is a testament that continues to resonate, reminding us of the importance of true worship, the power of God's redemption, and the need to resist Satan's temptations.